Okay, folks, it's turn 22. We can see over here, Enceladus the first of the Gigantes has come out, so Phlegra now has their super combatants in operation. That's a little bit distressing, but honestly, I'm one of the nations that actually can deal with them because I have so much blood, and of course, blood, later on, gives you Leech at level 7, which is just a whole bunch of armor-negating life drain damage, and then Life for a Life, and 2 castings of Life for a Life will kill a Gigante Tyrant. A Lace Dragonian Tyrant, rather. Also, it's 100 precision. So, later in the game, I can wipe them out no trouble with blood magic. Now, earlier on, they can become a problem, and for that I will need... it would be an issue. Hitting them with the Withering would help, but they have a very high max age, if I recall correctly. It hasn't been that long since I was playing Phlegra, so I think that's correct. In any case, could be a problem. Now, also what could be a problem, Phlegra has actually moved into Raga's cap circle. We had made an agreement that I would get the cap circle. I'm not going to mention anything to him just yet. Forgive my sudden lack of words there. I'm not going to say anything to him just yet, but hopefully, I can persuade him to back off there. I need, at the very least, I have to have Searing Sands and Raga, and so, at the very least, coming out with these 4 provinces. I've also made an agreement with Abyssia to attack Raga. I've basically offered to let him take that. I said, look, all I want is the cap circle. So if I can end up with the cap circle, that would be pretty rad. Now, the battle in Jaburnia, he just rolled over a whole bunch of province defense. He has a whole bunch of Mouflon Cataphracts and 2 Cyclope Smiths here. So this is a pretty significant army that's rolling in. Like, actually quite significant. And I'm not sure what he's trying to do. He's summoning Earth Power, and then I think he's going to cast, Legions of Steel. So now his Mouflon Cataphracts are at Prot 21. And yeah, they just roll right over that infantry without even stopping. Mouflon Cataphracts are such hugely efficient heavy cavalry. They're not the best heavy cavalry. I mean, like, Savaran Guard are actually more powerful than Mouflon Cataphracts are individually. But they're more efficient because they're slaves, and a lot cheaper. So yeah, I think actually I will say something to Phlegra, like, hey man, I thought we'd agreed that I was going to get the cap circle, but we'll see. We will see. In any case, I've got my big ol' army over here, about 100 units, actually about 150 units all told, with pretty high siege strength. So should be able to roll on in and do some damage. Now his army is probably going to stick in Raga at the moment, because he doesn't really have anywhere else to go with it. Yeah, and then I've got another 26 Bone Fiends gathering up here, and I can take these units. So 7 more units down there. Coming down to Valadun, we'll join up in Black Alps. And I think it may be almost time to besiege Raga. I've got a whole bunch of my fire gems deployed with these 3 mages so they can summon lesser fire elementals. Now, fire elementals are not fantastic against Ragans because Turans are fire resistant. So, like, the Savaran Guard are fire resistant 15, and the Savaran Cataphracts are fire resistant 15. Turan Heavy Infantry are fire resistant 10. So, fire elementals don't really do damage to them, is the problem. Yeah, actually, that's more than I thought it was. I was thinking it was 5. Yeah, that's hardly worth all the gems, actually, in that case. In that case, we can actually just have them spam Bonds of Fire instead. Bonds of Fire, it also does fire damage, which they won't really care about, but what it does is it locks them in place, basically. Prevents them from moving very well. For at least a short time. So, yeah, Bonds of Fire. And it's a morale check to escape, so regardless of whether it does damage, actually. Alternatively, we can spam Rage. That's actually probably the play. The play is, I think, spamming Rage with my Fire Mages. So we do that, we do that, we do... Where's my other one? We do that. And you should actually have Iron Skin first. Or Stone Skin, more like. Stone Skin... and then Phoenix Power, and then Rage. And we'll give you each like 2 fire gems. That, and there. And then we can have a scout following along with more fire gems. So we'll sneak this scout back there. Got some scouts deploying over there. Up here you can see Abyssia's god, one majestic boy, the Urmalulu. And yeah, should be interesting. So, as you can see from our deployment, we've got our mages up front casting protection onto our bone fiends. We've also got our flagellants. And actually, I'm going to put the flagellants central and the bone fiends down there, so that we'll hopefully get some protection on the flagellants as well. They're a lot less HP than the bone fiends. Actually, the bone fiends getting the protection is better. So yeah, just have the bone fiends get all the prot. We'll have the flagellants down there. They will also get the blessing, so they'll be able to do some damage. And we've got these guys in the back guarding the crossbows. So this is our giants here. This is our anti-Ziyedin / anti-cavalry brigade, designed to defend our crossbows from attack rear shenanigans. So we're going to move down to Black Alps. Then I think we're going to hop over to Jaburnia to gather our forces from Valadun. We will also, while we're thinking about it, we don't have any money. I'd like to recruit a few barbarians if possible. Nah, low morale. They'd actually hurt us more than they helped. Over here, we're switching over to recruiting Levite Zealots, and this is to begin to prepare to have a blood economy. Levite Zealots are fantastic patrollers. They have the patrol efficiency of 3 units, and they're cheap, relatively speaking. So all of these guys, all 6 of these Levite Zealots, are less than 1.5 Gibors, and they also carry my bless. So if necessary, I can have, if someone like tries to raid me while I'm blood hunting, Kohens are priest level 2, so they can bless. And so if they have a whole bunch of Levite Zealots they're patrolling, they can bless them and then shift into casting blood spells, while the Levite Zealots go out with the withering weapons and all that they have and do some damage. I'm also recruiting 1 Asherite soldier because I actually do have the spare resources for it. In fact, I could get 2 if I wanted to cut out 1 Levite. We'll get a Levite. In terms of overall stats, Levites are absolutely unimpressive for their cost. It's the Sacred and the Patrol bonus that gives them that cost. So you don't really want to be using them in combat if you don't have to. But Asherites are pretty solid. High resource cost, but 14 defense and 17 prot on a basic infantry unit, that's really good. So we've got them. We'll build a temple up here so that we can start pumping out Levites up in this province as well. We won't be able to get very many, unfortunately, because they do require 14 recruitment points. And even with a fortress, the rec points here are still only 59, as it turns out. I was hoping they'd be more, but as it stands, I guess I can only still get 6 crossbows. Plus, of course, I have 0 gold left. I could, at this point, switch back to starting to pump out some more Kohens, but I don't think I really need them just yet, because I'm still several turns away from securing Raga and Searing Sands. So, overall, things looking pretty well up. We'll be taking Black Alps, which will break us out of the 6-province bind we've been in for a while. We'll take Black Alps, we'll take Raga, and then we'll try to take these 2 as well. And we'll see what we can do. In any case, thanks for watching. I'll see you all in turn 23. Let's be honest here. Who watching is surprised that I've lived this long? Just raise your hand. Yeah, that's what I thought. See you next time. Alright, folks, turn 23, and this turn, Raga really started to fail, largely through diplomacy. So we charged into Black Alps, took the province over, no problem. Simultaneously, Abyssia attacked Mighty Pillars with his god, the Urmalulu, and a bunch of Burgmeister guards, mercenaries he's recruited. So he's locking down that fort. And Phlegra attacked Searing Sands. Now, I've talked to Phlegra. Phlegra is just moving through. He's going up here to take these provinces and this throne. So these provinces are being left to me. This is why I'm going into Jaburnia. I'm not attacking Phlegra. I'm just moving in so that I don't have to attack Raga right away before I have every scrap of available troops. Which I think I'll probably need, because I suspect, if he's smart, he's actually patrolling with those troops to help his province defense. And I think this army can take them, but I'd like to have every possible scrap of available units. Now, I don't have any undead leadership except Master Blaster here in Gath at the moment, unfortunately, and I won't for a couple of turns. But I do have Midian moving up here to join this army, and I also have a few more crossbows moving out with Euthenon and Yona, who is going to be scripted to cast Protection a whole bunch of times. And gonna drop, don't have personal luck, gonna drop Barkskin on herself too. So, we'll have that. We're gonna gather everybody together to attack Raga. I'm moving up there because I think he's not going to attack there. I think if he attacks me, he's going to attack Black Alps. So, all told, we're going to end up with 3 lots of Bone Fiends, about 60 Bone Fiends, up in the front on hold and attack. We've got a nice little line of Gibbors in the back set to hold and attack Flyers. So if he jumps Zayedins or something into the back to attack my crossbows, they can handle it. He actually only has 1 Zayedin. So actually, but he can summon elementals. And specifically, he's got Area Seraphs. So if we look at Raga, he has these Area Seraphs he's been recruiting. Area Seraphs can summon air elementals, including like full-size, size 6 air elementals. Now, he has a little bit of air gem income as well, so he could have up to about 23, 24 air gems right now, which means he could spam a lot of air elementals, and air elementals would actually be a pretty good counter to this army. Now, I do have the Gibbors, and the Gibbors have magic weapons, so Gibbors can do a pretty decent job fighting air elementals. That's why they have to be in the back here, because they have to be the ones fighting the air elementals. Now, the issue is, once they cut the air elementals down to size, they'll start hitting them with armor negating lightning attacks instead of trampling them, which will be a huge bummer. But I just gotta kind of hope that I can soldier through it. I may not be able to take Raga super soon, but at least I can try to lock it down and make it dangerous and expensive for him to try and break out. The Mighty Pillars, of course, is being locked down by Abyssia, so this is fine. So if I can manage to get Raga's cap circle here, which is what I'm aiming to do, I'll end up with, these extra provinces. I'll have this, the wasteland, and of course I'll have Raga itself, so I'll have a second capital, which will be fantastic. I don't know why things are lagging right there. I think I'm going to turn off the names, because having the names on often seems to cause problems. Yeah, okay, much better. So, that is the plan. I don't have any units, I think, here. Yeah, I don't have any units there. I do have 1 guy there, so we're just going to have to gamble that this province won't rebel this coming turn. But I think I can do this. Like I said, the air elementals are scary. I don't know how long he's been pumping out Area Seraphs, but he could have several. My biggest hope right now is that he has no income. In fact, he should actually be losing units, because Savaran Guards are not sacred, and neither are Turin Heavy Infantry, so they should actually be, if he doesn't have the income to maintain their upkeep, then they should start to rout. They should start to just disappear. So if we can besiege Raga, because Raga will give him quite a bit of income, and his upkeep won't be much higher than mine. So Raga itself can support this army, I think, because Savaran Guard are... Let me check what they cost. 32 a year. Yeah, so Savaran Guard are like 2.5, something like that per... they're 2 1/3, actually, 2.33 per turn. So, yeah, his Savaran Guards will only be about 100 or so, because I think he only has 40 or 50 Savaran Guard. The Turin Heavy Infantry will be less than that. The Zautars are his basic mages, if I recall correctly. Zautars are also air mages, and they're fairly expensive ones, actually, but they're sacred. So their upkeep is halved. So their upkeep is about 5, or that's actually 7 per turn. And then the Area Seraphs have an upkeep. They're not sacred, so their upkeep is quite a bit higher. Their upkeep is like 14 per turn. But even so, he can definitely hold on for a while unless I besiege Raga, in which case he'll have no income because his forts will be besieged, except for the 50% income he'll get from Raga itself. And then I think his army will actually start to shrink, because then he'll only be getting half the income from Raga, which in his case is going to be about... he does have growth scale, so it's going to be slightly higher than this 300, and he hasn't lost population to random events. So it's going to be like 350, maybe, something like that. So, but on 175, he won't be able to support this army. Part of it will go away. Not the mages, unfortunately, but the troops. And if I can just hold him under siege for a little while, that will give me time to build up more troops, more Bone Fiends and such, and move in and actually take it. Now, Bone Fiends are going to get absolutely destroyed by air elementals, so I need to have a counter to the air elementals. My fire elementals actually can serve that purpose. So these guys, I'm actually going to put back here, and we are going to script them to Phoenix Power and Lesser Fire Elemental. Phoenix power. Actually, no, we're just going to script them to lesser fire elemental twice. Lesser fire elemental, lesser fire elemental. The Phoenix power would cost a gem, so it's not really worth doing. I have 21 more fire gems right now, so Seleno is going to take a whole bunch more fire gems. The reason I'm doing this is that fire elementals have magic attacks. And so with those magic attacks, they can do damage to air elementals and shrink them fairly effectively. They do get trampled, but they're also ethereal, so trampling doesn't hurt them very often. Only about a quarter of the time does trampling actually injure them. So Selena will sneak up that way with a bunch of fire gems. How many fire gems is that? 12? Take 16, actually. Excuse me, we've got 3 fire mages there. We've got Midian coming up. Midian can cast Earth Might. Or Earth Meld. Earth Meld could actually be super useful, but dropping Earth Might on some of these, basically dropping buffs on the Bone Fiends, I think will make them very effective. Because they have 2 attacks, they have high hit points, so if I can get a little bit of protection on them, a little bit of extra strength so they start doing more damage. It says one of these guys with protection and Earth Might on him is Prot 10, HP 15, which is okay, and he's Strength 19, so he's got 2 19 damage attacks. That's enough to chop through Roggen armor pretty effectively. Similarly, I've got the Flagellants with the Flails. The Flails are pretty decent weapons, 2 attacks, bonus versus shield, bonus to hit versus shield, so their attack is actually 11. Once they get my Bless on them, they'll be fairly effective, and in particular, because they get Strength +2 and Undying +2, so another 4 hit points. With the Decay weapons and the Unholy weapons, that combination in particular means that they'll absolutely mulch the Yeddens, and my Gibbors will, as we've already seen. And the Decay weapons means they'll trade pretty well against most units. And then, of course, the Bless also includes fire resistance, which is nice, so if they summon fire elementals at me, my Sacreds will be protected against those as well. And the Decay effect will hit ethereal units such as elementals. So, that's the plan, such as it is. I've got Sharam here as well, but I don't really need him. Got a few Levites built up at home, recruiting just a couple more. I'm only recruiting 2 because I'm spending money on crossbows up here. And of course I am criminally, chronically, unbelievably short of cash at all times. But so we'll, I think we can make this work. So I'm about to end the turn, and we're actually going to roll right into the next turn, so I'll see you in turn 24. Alright folks, turn 24, we are entering the end game of our personal little Thunderdome over here, our war, our entry from the wilderness into the promised land. We are reaching the climax of the whole shebang. We've hit alteration level 4, so we have Swarm now. We're biting more Bone Fiends. Several battles. First of all, Phlegra moved into Eagle Reach Mountains and took it. I moved into Jaburnia, which was owned by Phlegra. Let me explain this because it kind of looks like I'm attacking Phlegra here. I'm not attacking Phlegra. This province was agreed it would go to me when we made our border agreement many turns ago, like 16 turns ago, 12 turns ago, something like that. In any case, Phlegra did forget that, and he actually cast the Death Remote Site Search spell on this province, and he found the Labyrinth of Skulls and this Well of Pestilence. So I do have diseases now, unfortunately. 2 of my commanders got diseased, which is why over here I am recruiting an Abba who can heal afflictions in order to try and heal them, because I don't want them dying of diseases. I actually do have some, not some cash, but some income. And then Abyssia attacked Chilad and took that. In Jaburnia, we got Misfortune and Magic, which doesn't really matter. But so I've agreed to send some death gems. I think it's 10 death gems we agreed to over to Phlegra, in order to compensate him for having used that spell on this province. And basically, I mean, 10 gems is honestly more than it's worth, but more than it's worth to cast the spell, obviously, by a good margin. But in order to keep Phlegra friendly, I'm willing to spend it. That's fine. Fine by me. Basically, he contacted me and said, well, I was a little bit ticked off that you took that province. And I was like, yeah, but, I mean, I can't stop you from taking it back if you want, but we did make a border agreement, and in fact, we specifically mentioned this province as being on my side of the border. And he went, oh, yeah, we did do that, didn't we? All right, well, just send me the income for 5 turns. Call it a sight fighter's fee. And I'm like, fine, deal. I will take that any day of the week. So we're gonna send him. I'm actually gonna send those to him right now while I'm thinking about it. So we're gonna send him 2 death gems. We're binding more Bone Fiends down here. We are recruiting a Yidonai. We actually should have an Abba here as well in order to stop these guys from dying of diseases any more than they already have. I should have actually done that a while ago. I just didn't have the spare resources to do it or time to think of it, really. So, you know, it is what it is. We've got a Benjaminite commander down here for no particular reason that I can think of. In any case, we're sending a scout to bounce off of Raga. He started to recruit a lot of Pygons, and Pygons are his real cheap, basic bitch light infantry units. They're not very good, but he's recruiting them. We're actually collapsing everything down towards Black Alps, and once again, I kind of hope he's going to come and attack me here. Because I think I can kill him if he does that. I think if he comes out and attacks me, I will win. I'll have more than 60 Bone Fiends. I'll have my big old line of infantry in the back set to hold and attack flyers, of which he only has one. So actually, to be honest, I probably don't need this, because I think the crossbows can kill him if he sends his flyer back here. I've got my mages up here, summoning fire elementals, or lesser fire elementals, rather, which will be kind of a pain in the ass to deal with, because he doesn't have magic weapons. And then Omer is moving in, and Omer has a ton of nature gems that she is bringing, and she's just going to cast... First, she's going to cast Personal Luck, and then she's going to cast Swarm a whole bunch of times. And then we're going to distribute those nature gems to my other nature mages, and have them all do that. They're all going to cast Swarm a whole bunch of times. So these guys should actually be just on attack cavalry in order to fight the Savaran Guard. We'll set them on hold and attack because everyone in front of them is on hold and attack, so they'll be hold and attack cav, hold and fire cav, and these guys are just attacking closest, just charging straight forward to get into it. These crossbows are set back here where they will be a temptation for the Zayedans, and these guys are going to be on hold and fire. Actually, they're going to be on hold and fire flyers, so if a Zayedan does jump to the back, if his one Zayedan that he has does jump to the back, all the crossbows will turn around, volley fire into it, should kill it pretty quickly. So, overall, like I said, I think if he comes out with the army, I'll win here. I also have some crossbows in the province defense, so I think I can take him. I'm not recruiting any troops because I'm totally out of cash. Between recruiting 2 actual mages, I'm just out of money. Like, I don't have any. There's nothing that can be done about it. But I'm hoping that he will stay and defend in his capital for one more turn. And then maybe I can go in and hopefully lock the capital down now that once I've gathered my whole army. And actually what I may do is I may delay one more turn and use send Roche with some gems just to bounce and try to gem bait him. And I can send Roche to, because his province defense does not contain many missile units. So Roche could potentially just walk in, cast Swarm twice, or just actually cast Body Ethereal and Personal Luck on herself, and then retreat. And that would, if he's patrolling, that would burn his air gems. The air gems that he's going to be planning to use to summon air elementals at me, which obviously is his plan based on what he's been recruiting. And that would be really fun. That would be great. I would love to burn some of those air gems off, because his air gem income is very slow, so he can't be getting all that many of them, which is fine by me. And that would give me one more turn to feed a few more, to get my Abba ready, and to bring up some more Bone Fiends, because Bone Fiends they have map move 20. And if we look from here, this province is 17 move points away, because you have to go through like that. So, when I recruit my next Yidonai, my next Yidonai will be able to grab those Bone Fiends, because Yidonai have map move 18. They'll be able to grab as many Bone Fiends as he can carry, which will be either 30 or 60, depending on if he randoms death or not, and move them to Black Alps, which will be another small increase in my combat power. And then, of course, once I go into the actual battle, I'll be spamming Swarm. I'll be dropping 2 turns should give me... It won't, I think, quite give me time to get Strength of Giants active. I don't have quite the research for that. It would take 3 turns, or possibly 4, to get Strength of Giants. But I'd love to have Strength of Giants, I really would. But right now, because it's going to take a total of 400 research points... Actually, no, 50 to level 1, then 100, and then 200. So it's going to take 350 research points, which I'm not going to hit. I'm only going to have about 280, 270 or so. 272, I think, because I won't recruit any new mages this turn. that are going to be researching. So it'll take 3 turns to get Strength of Giants active, but Strength of Giants would also be a really, really nice boost to me. In any case, things are going pretty well. On good terms with Phlegra, on good terms with Abyssia. Definitely winning against Raga. Raga is gone the way of all the earth pretty much at this point. It's just a question of how long it takes to actually reduce the capital. Now, to break through the walls of the capital will take me relatively little time because of the immense siege strength that Bone Fiends provide. But to actually capture the province will probably take a while. Because I cannot, assuming that he sits in his fort and lets me overrun the province defense, I can't effectively fight all those units plus a whole bunch of air elementals in the fort. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to break the walls, and then I'll have to gem bait his air gems out, just bleed his air gems until I can actually go in and take the place. And that'll just take some time. So nothing to be done about it, really. It is really nice that I get this death and fire income here. That's fantastic. That like puts me on the map a little bit more. But it is kind of a bummer that I've gotten diseased, so we'll get that ABBA and we'll get it taken care of. In any case, things are looking up. So I'll see you in turn 25. Hopefully we should have Raga locked down and these provinces, or this province at least, back under my control, you know, within the next couple of turns. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in turn 25. Okay, turn 25. There was a battle in Raga, and we did successfully cause him to be patrolling. So he's patrolling with his army. We get a look-see at what is defending Raga at the moment. And it's exactly what I thought it was. It's a huge ball of province defense. His army, which is about 50 Savaran Guard, mainly, and then also some Turin heavy infantry out front, plus 1, count them, 1 weakened, limping, battle-frightened Zayedin. Even with all of these, like, debuffs, he's still stupidly powerful, just really, really strong. Especially because his weapons do a whole bunch of damage. The claws and bites are actually not affected by him being low strength, and the broadsword just has such high damage, as does the lance, that he still does pretty high damage anyway. And then he has a bunch of mages, many of them equipped with some air gems, and presumably scripted to summon air elementals. Probably lesser air elementals, but he might be able to throw out some regulars if he's hit Conjuration level 5, which is possible. He's also got Dual Rainbow the Archseraph, set to do that same thing. So, what I'm doing here is, so we can just look at the battle here. See, he's got 88 units. This does not count the Pygons he's been recruiting. Apparently, they were not patrolling. And then he's got 174 province defense. So he's got, like, a crazy quantity of province defense. That's a lot of PD. I think he's dumping all of his money into province defense, which is sort of hilarious, but also sort of scary, actually, because it means that I need more troops. So I'm building up more Bone Fiends and such here. I'm also sending 1 mage, specifically Rosh here, who is diseased and has a never-healing wound, in order to try and bait out his gems. Now, I don't know if this mage is powerful enough to trigger gem use. I've given her a number of gems, which is what the game kind of counts. If the game looks at mages and goes, oh, if they have gems, then maybe I should use use gems against them. Unfortunately, I don't think a 2-path mage is enough. So I'm thinking I may have to send troops. And that's a bummer, because if I send troops and they retreat, then I'll lose some of them, which I don't want. But I would really like to get rid of some of those air gems before the actual battle. Like, I'd really like that. Or alternatively, I'd like to have a fight where the air gems don't get used, but I don't know how to create that situation. I don't know what the threshold is where he'll start to use gems. Like I said, I don't think that Rosh will do it, actually. But there's some threshold at which they will start to use gems, even if I don't technically have anything on the field that meets the criterion. The criterion, I believe, is actually a 4-path mage with 3 gems, or any commander with 20 gems worth of gear. So I mean, I could forge some crap gear here that's 20 gems worth and then just retreat. That's an option. It's not a very good one because it would take some time and it would slow down my reinforcements. Like, I'd have to have Itamar forging something. Because I only have 11 astral pearls. I could, I guess, Well, let's actually try both, I guess. Because, like I said, if you have 20 gems worth of gear on somebody, then they trigger gem use. So the enemy will spend their gems against your one dude, who is then retreating off the battlefield and the gems are wasted. And normally I consider this sort of an abusive tactic, but I kind of have to do it, because otherwise I just don't have a way to crack Raga, really. His army and especially his huge numbers of province defense will bog me down, and I won't be able to kill his mages effectively, which is kind of what I have to do. I'm actually going to untarget these guys. I'm just going to have them hold and fire none, in the hope that by doing so they will shoot at the at the mages, which is what I really, really want them to do. But yeah, so I'm sending in a scout, I'm sending in Rosh. Like I said, I don't actually know if Rosh will trigger gem usage, but I'm thinking 5 gems. I have all these fire gems that I don't really need that many of. Let's give her 8, actually. Maybe 8 gems will do it. I don't know. I don't exactly know how the AI is going to count. My other alternative is to send in like most of the army and then have them retreat immediately, but by doing so I'll end up scattering my troops between all 3 of these provinces, and I'll lose a bunch to the retreat mechanism, because retreat mechanics are not accurate, are not reliable. So I don't want to take those casualties if I don't have to. I would much, much rather just send in some mages carrying some gems, have them retreat off the battlefield, take all the enemy gems with them. That would be really nice, because I don't think he's expecting that. So that's the plan there. We did get a message from Rithia, but there is no lore. There's no sloth facts coming out. Please send your best bets and an animal of your choice. Sloth facts will be replaced by the strongest bidders' choice. Donald Trump. Oh yeah, he named his king Donald Trump after he got Queen Baka, who is the mage who failed every possible random. So yeah, it'll be. I could just charge this army in at this point, and that was kind of what I was planning to do, but I would rather wait at least one turn. Let's see if the gem bait works. Let's see if it draws the gems out. If it doesn't, then I'll send the army in, I think, because that'll be another 30 Bone Fiends. So that'll push me up to about 100 Bone Fiends all told. Plus I have these 115. Plus I have those 12 crossbows. And I have a few more crossbows should be. One second. I need to make some changes. I'm recruiting more Levites back here. Let's actually cancel a couple of those in order to get 3 more crossbows up here. Make it 4, why not? Yeah, so another turn will... I mean, I'm just growing faster than he is, so waiting is kind of in my favor. And if he comes out to fight me without his province defense, then I think the result will be much more in my favor. I'm actually going to set these guys on hold and attack large enemy monsters and put them behind the crossbows once again, because I think my front line here can fight his chaff pretty effectively, and these guys might be able to kill air elementals that jump into my back lines. That would be ideal if they could do that. And then, of course, I've also got some mages casting Swarm up front, so the Swarm will definitely help as well. So, that's the plan. I lost some Golden Black Alps, and I got some growth, but lost some Dominion in Valadun. That's actually okay. Like, Valadun now has growth 3, and so will actually grow and give me more income, which is great. I mean, I only have growth 1 in most of my Dominions, so... could be worse. Could be worse. And worldwide event, we've got luck and growth +1 everywhere. So yeah, the growth +1 is coming from this random event. And it's also lowering my misfortune, which is nice. At least temporarily, and slightly. But I definitely need to start, like... I need to make my push here. I'm just churning out Yadonai and Bone Fiends and pumping them into this this place here. I've got a couple more turns for Enchantment 3. Oh, that's right. Actually, I do have Conjuration 3, so I can summon Earth Power with my Earth 2s. That's actually really good to remember. And in fact, I think I had remembered it and then forgotten it again. But yes, I would love to get Strength of Giants, so that will take another couple of turns. I'll be at level 2 next turn. Yeah, it'll take 2 more turns. So I think I'll wait 2 more turns, then go in once I have Strength of Giants. That's probably a good plan. And I'll continue. I'll try to gem bait in the meantime. but we'll see what we can do. Okay, so that's the plan. I'll see y'all on turn 26.